Well, more now on our top story, Angela Merkel's visit to Turkey. She's been under fire back in her home country for support of the refugee deal. During a press conference on Friday, her critics accuse her of being too lenient with Turkey over controversial issues because of Ankara's key role in halting the flow of migrants to Europe. Angela Merkel acknowledged making mistakes in dealing with the ongoing controversy surrounding a poem by German satirist Jan Böhmermann, who was accused of insulting Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan.
When we talk about human rights, when we talk about values, then there are always two possibilities. The first one is the public thing. The other one is sometimes something that is only mentioned internally. Both happen at the same time when it comes to political talks. But human rights, civil rights, and liberties and freedom of the press are indispensable goods, and that a situation has arose that people think that this would be abandoned since we just made an agreement with Turkey. This was a mistake, and that is why I take the opportunity here to adjust this once more.
All right, let's get more on the German Chancellor's visit to Turkey. Natalie Powell joins us now. Natalie, I'll get to those comments made by the Chancellor in just a moment, but let's start off with the EU-Turkey deal, where she said it's, quote, absolutely right and essential for Germany. How's this being perceived in Germany?
Well, it's interesting here in Germany. This whole deal, which is now about a month old, has been reasonably controversial with the one-in, one-out policy if migrants don't qualify for asylum in Greece. But when it comes to the EU-Turkey deal allowing Turkish citizens to travel visa-free in the EU, we know that 72 conditions of that have to be met by the 4th of May. At the moment, it would appear that only half of those conditions have been met. So there is some suggestion here in Germany that perhaps Angela Merkel's visit to Turkey is seen as slightly wooing Turkey to try to ensure that this situation is calmed and is going rather well, whereas some of the conditions of it have not yet quite been met. So reasonably controversial back here in Berlin.
Okay, now, Natalie, coming back to her comments that we just played out, she said that human rights and civil rights and liberties and freedom of press are indispensable goods. She's backstepped a little bit. Do you think she's expected to put a little bit of pressure on the Turkish leadership while she's here?
Well, it is interesting. This visit is all supposed to be about the refugees and the refugee situation, whereas what we've just heard from the German Chancellor, of course, is far more focused on human rights and perhaps freedom of expression. Now, she has been under a lot of pressure here in Germany to deal with both of those issues during this visit. The German Justice Minister had asked her to address concerns over freedom of speech, freedom of expression, especially after what took place with the German comedian who is being, or his prosecution is being looked into by prosecutors after a request from Turkey. Big concerns over whether that will be damaging to freedom of speech here in Germany. And of course, the other issue of human rights, whether this deal, this one-in, one-out policy does actually go against many of the refugees' human rights. And Angela Merkel seemingly saying that she will address those concerns whilst on this visit to Turkey, which is a slight turnaround perhaps from anything we've heard from her so far.
All right, Natalie Powell with an update for us from Berlin. Thank you.